Are we at war?
We don't know his name. Money, weapons, intel. He's planning something.
Sergeant McTavish, welcome to the City of Souls. There are few here to uphold the law, and many of those who resist corruption disappear.
Terrorism is good for business. As long as there is a war on terror, there will be no real war on drugs.
We've got bigger problems.
We're not 141 and lost for Keros. We're a team.
I want to know how many they have and where they intend to use them.
Y'all got a clear picture?
All set.
These things take planning and preparation.
These things take violence and timing. I can do both. Go, Johnny! Get out of there!
You're the commander of a foreign terror organization.
I can say the same to you.
Digitally pre-order Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and play the campaign up to a week early.
All of us want to make a difference. As veterans, we committed to protect our country. We served and sacrificed for the things that mattered most. Those experiences shaped our lives, even if it isn't always obvious to those around us. And now that we've served, our commitments have taken on a new meaning. We're husbands, wives, parents, friends, and neighbors, but sometimes we still feel alone. We forget that our biggest challenge can be to ask for support when we need it. The Veterans Crisis Line is here for all veterans, service members, and their loved ones. Dial 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. Chat online at veteranscrisisline.net or text 838-255. It matters.
Hello and welcome again to Oscar Mike Radio. I'm your host. My name is Travis. Oscar Mike Radio is part of the Hubazoo Network. You can find out more on hubazoo.com. I want to thank my sponsors, Joyce Asek of Asek Real Estate, Army National Guard veteran Mark Holmes of Reapers Detailing Power Washing, and my supporters, Semper Savage Salad Dressing, Bottom Gun Coffee, and Caisson Shaving Company, all veteran owned.
All right, I like that.
It's the way we roll here. It's the way we roll here. And we are rolling heavy today, folks. So I'm going to tell you up front, if you have tender feelings, if you think the world is pure as a driven snow, if you're hurt easily, leave now because you might hear some truth. But also, this is like Christmas. This has been 10 years in the making. So without any further ado, I want to introduce Army veteran First Sergeant Terrence Popp to Oscar Mike Radio. Pop, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here.
And it's been 10 years, and we kind of talked before, we started this, where I was going through a very bad time in my life with divorce that a lot of my fellow veterans go through. I saw guys in the Marine Corps, there's that E4 to E7 coming in the Bears with a sea bag, and oops, you know what's going on.
The duffel bag drag, seen it many times.
Duffel bag drag.
Many, many times have I seen that.
Well, the thing was, for us, they're coming in there and then they're all upset. So they take it out on us for the next month and a half while they're going through this. It just, you got a very different side of love thing going on very early in your young, impressionable life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and when it was happening to me, I mean, I was, how should I phrase this? I remained calm, and I did my best to not take it out on other people. Now, it doesn't mean that I didn't run off at the mouth and stuff when people were talking about certain things, but I never made anyone do push-ups. I never, put paperwork on anyone. I never went out of my way to fuck with anyone if they didn't deserve it. I mean, that's the way it goes when you're a senior NCO. You can't afford to ruin your reputation in the unit when your life wobbles a little bit. I mean, because you lead from the front and by example, and I always tried to do that.
Well, it was just really interesting how, whether they were an E4 or E7, or even some of the officers kind of really kept their stuff close to their chest, how that aspect of a wife, taking the guy's kids from the base back home and telling him, you know what, forget you're not going to see your kids. Pop, it just put them on a path to where they changed overnight.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you fuck with somebody's kids, man. That's, I have no idea why there isn't a barricaded gunman across every divorce court in America every fucking day. I really don't. I mean, I'm amazed. In fact, when my divorce was finalized, I remember walking up the front door of the Macomb County Courthouse, hysterically laughing. And my attorney is standing next to me. He's like, the fuck is so funny? And I literally looked him in the face. I said, this is so outrageous. I just can't believe there's a squad of individuals here just wreaking fucking havoc. This is not fair. One, it's not fair. It violates the Constitution. And three, they take away a man's kids millions of times a year based on 3 words. I'm not happy.
80%. I learned the statistic, 80%. People said that was an exaggeration on your part. I'm like, no, it's actually 80%.
Well, and it's even higher for married women who have a college degree. It goes into the 90s.
So it's 2012. I'm really in the valley, man. I'm in the valley, and I got my Kindle out here, and I'm like, I'm going to read something to kind of get me going. And I find this book called The Warrior's Way and the Soldier's Soul. And I don't want to go over the entire book. We could, but I just wanted to say the one passage in there, there's 3 things that happened to me that kind of got me out of my funk, because I couldn't believe we're sitting there in the Plymouth courthouse and my lawyers tell me what's going to happen. And I'm like, how is this even equitable? How is it fair? I love my children. I didn't do this. I didn't want this, but I'm dealing with it.
I know. Every single man, veteran or not, thinks along the same lines when they step into that fucking clusterfuck they call law known as family court. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it okay if I swear on here?
For this one, we gotta get savage.
Okay. All right.
We gotta get savage. And I told people, hey, if you're offended easily, turn it off. And I'm gonna tell you again, turn it off if you're offended easily, because you might get offended.
Because I'm not good at turning off grunt speak. I mean, that's just how it is.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here. But I'm going through all that. And then I found out too, that the fact that I served my country was not an advantage in
No,
family court.
no. I was literally referred to as a murderer, an assassin in open fucking court. And I went to get the transcripts and it's not in there because I was going to file a formal complaint against the judge and the attorney. And I mean, that's a whole other side note. You're not allowed to bring recording devices in there because they know they're violating everyone's rights and doing fucking horrible shit, and they don't want to get called to the carpet with actual evidence.
It was just strange. So the first thing is, and I have what I consider a fantastic attorney, and she has done an amazing job for the last 9 years, now 10 years with me, 10 years. And I really appreciate that. First thing she was like, look, you've got to get out of this victim mentality. I know this sucks. I know this sucks. And it just is what it is. And you're going to make mistakes if we don't get you thinking right, because I was not in a good place. And I guess I'd ask you is, you get in this bad place, what stops a guy from getting out of it versus staying in there and saying, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to go nuclear anyway?
Well, for me, because listen, that whole system is evil. It destroys love and it destroys hope. All right. And I had this is a hard story. Okay, so I had a former commander visit me while I was at work, working as a training sergeant for the 414 Civil Affairs. Now, back in the day, I was his platoon sergeant when he was a first lieutenant, and I was like connected to his hip for almost 2 years. Right, we went to the field, we jumped out of planes, we did all the fucking crazy shit, had to deal with emergencies, what have you. And I didn't see it at the time, but he came there to say goodbye to me. Okay, and he didn't know this. I didn't know what he was going to do, and he didn't know what I was going to do. And I know I'm like this. I was at a very, very dark place, and I was planning to go out to the Holly National Cemetery and blow my head off in my Class A's. Well, this guy did it 4 days before I had planned to do it. The only difference is his position where he did it at was far more scenic than mine. And I wound up being the NCOIC for his entire funeral. I saw exactly how much pain was dished out to everyone. It was even worse for his family. And it did a 180 for me. Okay. And quite literally, that officer took the bullet that was meant for me. And I'm like, holy fuck. It literally woke me up, and I'm like, this is it. I'm not going out like that. If maybe someday I'll go out on my feet or get killed in a fight or something, but I'm not sucking a gun. I'm not doing it. Not for this horseshit. And then the special operation, Ranger in me woke up, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. If you think I'm going to sit here and be quiet about this, you're out of your goddamn mind. So then I started making videos. I did that suicide video. I don't know if you've seen it, called Purple Heart's Final Beat. And that one got national acclaim, but it kind of got shut down by the feminist people in charge. It wasn't as prevalent as it was back then. Nowadays, it probably would have been banned from YouTube and never even viewed. So, I mean, that's my story right there. And right now, and just using comedy, telling the truth, and refusing to quit, my number now is up to 469 men who have come forward and said, hey, man, your shit has kept me from fucking killing myself. And
but
I don't know.
So here's the thing. A lot of people tell me, well, hey, you're a big boy, you're a man, you're a U.S. Marine. Don't sit there and whine and complain. You shouldn't be hurt like this. This stuff just happens. And I think that does more damage than help.
Because they want you to shut up. They don't want, they know what they're doing is fucked up beyond all recognition. It is foobarred. And they want you to shut up so they can keep doing it. Period. All right, now listen. The stats of marriage are insane. It's a 52% chance your first marriage is going to go tits up.
Yep.
If you decide to do it again, it jumps up to 63 to 67. If you're uber dumb, you do it a third time, you have like an 80% chance. And these people don't know the rules, the rule of halves. You lose half your shit on the first one, half your shit on the second one, half your shit on the third one. You're quite literally worth 1/4 to 1/8 of what you would have been worth if you never got married in the first place.
Well, that's the thing I'm wrestling with now is I tell young guys, you know, how I feel about this, and I use numbers. And then an angry mother or sister calls me up saying, you know, how dare you tell my son or brother that? I'm like, look, it's just numbers, man.
That's
It's
right.
just-
Yeah, that's right. Women and feminists deal on an emotional plane. Emotions change at a moment's notice. Facts do not. I always bet the numbers, man. If you bet against the numbers, you're gonna fucking lose. The house always wins.
House always wins.
It always wins. It always wins.
And
The only way to win is not to play.
Well, and then the other thing too that I found is, so I used a lot of military stories and Oscar Mike Radio to tell why some of us don't want to do this. And the one that came to mind first was there was that submariner from Michigan, Michigan.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. And people said, no, that didn't happen. I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
it did.
oh, it did. Like the fucking judge was basically telling the Navy that if he's not here, I'm gonna fucking fuck him.
Yep.
All right. That happens all the time.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. It might not be to that degree, but there's lots of times when dudes are out in the fucking field or they're deployed and they're just getting slam fucked in court and they're not even there. And they have the Soldier Sailor Act, and it's supposed to protect these guys, but the judges don't read it. So when you come in there, like, wow, the judges literally look you and go, I didn't know about that. If I'm a criminal and I come into your court and I say I didn't know the law, the answer is ignorance of the law is no excuse. Therefore, it should fucking apply to you. Period. And they all enjoy this qualified immunity where they violate your constitutional rights, ruin your fucking life, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. All right. And that frustration about this qualified immunity is basically the kindling that's causing all of these riots and horseshit. And it's only going to get worse until we can fix this problem. So if you have judges making, judgments that go against the Constitution or against laws that are on the fucking books, a judge needs to be fucking pack up, go fucking home, take it to Fort Living Room. You are not competent to be here. And guess what? We want you to be civilly sued so we can come after your rich 401k, take your $500,000 house, your cars, and you can fuck off.
And you're getting angry, Travis. You're getting angry, Pop. I'm like, yeah, it's an angry thing. It's an angry thing when I got, veterans tell me, hey, if I don't do this, if I don't get a suit to show up in court, the judge is going to look at me negatively. If I don't have furniture, if I don't get clothes, I'm screwed. Help me. And he's all alone. So
yeah. And we don't have the money. I put together an online course called Administrative Violence. All right. All it is you're using nothing but administrative techniques to use guerrilla warfare against these fucking people, including the baby mama, the ex-wife, whatever. You can quite literally turn these people's lives into a redneck fucking nightmare. You can do it anonymously, and you can do it as many times as you want, and as long as there's no evidence behind, DNA or whatever, you're fine. Now, what's in the course is not illegal. It's unethical, but you're not an attorney, so fuck it. So I'm trying to put tools in place to help people. And because I'm sick and tired of burying people, I'm sick and tired of driving by guys with signs on the side of the road saying, hey, divorced, no food, no house. I mean, I've seen that hundreds of times. I was homeless myself for about 6 months, lived out of my fucking car. So if it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone.
I have a lot of empathy, and there, you know, you get behind on a bill, you get behind on a car payment, and bad things start happening. I want to go back to mothers and sisters, for example. I
Yeah.
don't understand. I've never understood, Pop, um why more moms and more sisters of these guys getting railroaded aren't angry.
I know.
I
They
don't,
should be.
but they're not. You'd think, hey, I'm watching my baby boy go through this, and I've got 10 other girlfriends whose sons are going through this. This is BS of what their, you know, wives or baby moms are doing to them. Let's band together for our kids. And it's like, you don't matter.
Yeah, man. There are some women that, you know, are on the men's rights side. I have quite a few that watch my stuff. But unfortunately, in the past 12 years, I've talked email or on the phone, probably two dozen, maybe a couple more women who are just absolutely devastated because the shit was happening to their son and he killed himself.
Those women, I mean, I met one. I met one up
Yeah.
here in Veteran, and her whole attitude changed about the whole thing. And, you know, the thing that frustrates her is she can't get other moms to clue in to get
Yeah.
the word out there, but it happens. So, you know, as a man in this day and age, what are you supposed to do? Because I get it, women make up half or over half the population now, and I don't hate women. I think I try to get along with them, but you know, I told somebody, look, it terrifies me to think about living with one. Am I like normal? I'm told I'm like abnormal and I'm damaged beyond all repair. Is it me, or is it just me being smart now?
That's you being smart.
Okay.
No, I mean, come on. If you have a platoon of guys, you go to do a mission, and half of them get fucking whacked because of no fault of your own, bad intel, whatever. Are you going to be like, hey, yeah, tomorrow, the next day, why don't you take the rest of your guys in there? You know, just keep. No, you're not going to fucking do that. I mean, come on. And it's absolutely crazy. And I'm working on a comedy video, like I said before, called Sell Me Marriage. And
it's a hard sell for me, man.
I know. Well, the thing is I'm doing it to try. I'm going to put this video out there. So if you have like a father, brother, uncle, grandfather, whatever, their younger, you know, male relatives are talking about getting married, they're like, hey, before you get married, why don't you just sit down and watch this comedy video from this guy? Because guess what? When using comedy, I literally am getting in your thinking meat, flipping switches and pushing buttons, and you don't even fucking know it. It's ingenious.
Well, that's the thing. You're not up there preaching at me. You're not up there wagging your finger. You're kind of like making me laugh. This is what happened back in 2013, 2012. Like, I'm like, this guy is spitting truth. And I'm kind of like feeling better about myself because it's like, yeah. I mean, why does it work that way?
Why does it work that way?
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of people who get in this dark storm cloud think they're all alone and it never happened to anyone else. And then when they hear about it, like, oh, wait a minute, this guy's talking. It's absolutely true. So, I mean, there you go.
Well, I like the fact that you kind of bring math and numbers and sources in, and then
everything.
Cross it with comedy. It's like, well, the numbers are right there. You can go look them up. It's
all of my videos have the links, study sources all below them. You can read it for yourself. I've had listen, I go back and forth with the comments and emails all the time. I spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours a day doing that. And you know, and sometimes I'm wrong and I'm like, okay, noted, got it, no problem. And then I get a lot of people who are like, well, you just hate women, or the trans people, you just want them to die. I'm like, fuck you. I've never, ever said that. I'm just telling people the truth. If you don't like it, that's your problem. Your feelings are not my responsibility. And quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. Boom.
It's just that simple. And it's like, okay, I'm like, he's on to something because of the level of hate back. Like no one's attacking the argument. A lot of times people are attacking you personally. And I'm like, you're not
Oh,
even,
yeah.
you're not even listening to what he's saying. It's just because he hurt your feelings and you're coming after him. Like, that's when I knew that I'm like, okay, he's on to something here. I'm going to listen some more. And I don't know about you, but I started getting some hope. Like when you dropped the video, I'm like, okay, I'm going to laugh for this half hour and then get right back in the fight and keep at it, because that's the way it worked for me. It was just one little step every day to get out of it.
Yep, it is. It is. And listen, if you're in emotional pain, and I write about this in my book, you know, physical pain is one thing, but emotional pain is the fucking worst. Because quite literally, when this whole thing started, and if I'd have went to the hospital, the doctor, and the doctor's like, hey, you know, what would you rather have? Your heart ripped out through your asshole or a broken leg? I'd have said break my fucking leg. Because I know they're going to put in a cast, maybe a rod, a pin, blah, blah, blah. I'll be walking in 6 to 8 weeks. I'll be fine. Emotional pain, that shit can last until your next fucking life. I mean, it is some deep, tragic horse shit. And there's no easy answer to get through it, but you have to get through it or it'll fucking be the monkey on your back. And it throws a lot of guys into the permanent dirt nap.
Well, you know, I did write about this in a writing project that came out early this year about the fact that, hey, you know, because of what happened, I've treated, you know, what potentially could have been a perfectly all right woman. You know, I can't say anything bad about her, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to look for a problem. I found a problem. You're out. And that's because I think I'm working on it now, but for a while I held on to that pain because it felt pretty good too.
Well, no, you have to be careful.
Okay.
Are you doing it out of just spite, or you're doing it out of reality? Because if you're doing it out of reality, I would not be sorry for that. The reality on the ground is this: at any fucking time, she can literally pick up the phone, dial 911, make up whatever fucking story she wants. You're going downtown, and a lot of times you don't get out of that until you plead to some horse shit. Okay, that power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. All right. And as long as women have that kind of power, if you don't want to live with them, don't. I don't advise it. All right. Listen, if you want to have a girlfriend or a relationship, that's fine. All right. Just don't live with them. All right. Don't let them into the inner sanctum. It's too dangerous. It could fucking kill you or turn you into a slave. No.
Well, that's the other thing I'm seeing is a lot of my buddies my age, I'm 50, are all but they're like drones. They're like bee drones or ant drones. And all they do is go out there, bust their asses 12, 14 hours a day to come home, hear how bad they suck, how this other guy's, you know, other girl's husband got her, you know,
Yep.
a Mercedes G-Wagon, and all she has is an Escalade. Why can't she go on vacation? And it's rinse and repeat. By the time they're 60, they're just like done, man.
Yeah, and they live their life to the following tune. Dunch, 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 dunch. Get up, punch in, work, go home, eat dinner, get up the next day. Maybe on Friday you get to pump your wife for 7 to 8 minutes. It's fucking in. And listen, you know what's at the end of the happily ever after?
What is?
Death. That's it. That's why guys die early. They're like, I'm fucking out of here. I mean, if you walk around with a yoke around your neck for 40 some odd years, by the time you get to the end, you're like, guess what? I'm punching out of this aircraft. It can fucking burn in. Fucking, I'm done.
But here's the thing, and this is what really fucks me up though, is I see like I remember my grandparents, and you know, I've read a lot of books about history, and even now there's some of my buddies who have like solid women. I mean, you know, he falls down, she's got the freaking AR right behind him, and she's gonna put, you know, hate on target, right? I've got you. 100%. And you can see it, like their lives improve with that. What happened where, okay, maybe grandpa and grandma didn't get along all the time, but they made it work versus now where, you know what? They change husbands like nail polish. What's going on with that?
Well, the minute it gets tough, the minute there's any pain, the minute there's any kind of strife, women punch out. I mean, I've literally, in the past 12 years, heard hundreds and hundreds of stories about men who lost their job and then they get, served the divorce papers, or they get hurt and they get served the divorce papers, or they get sick and they get served the divorce papers. The same thing happened to me. I came back from Iraq with a TBI, and my ex-wife drew a red line through my name, decided to get a Forrested dick run through her, and boom, the rest is history.
So is it that women can't be loyal? Is that what it is? Because I think women and men look at loyalty differently. I really do.
Well, in my personal opinion, very, very few women are capable of absolute loyalty.
But they demand it out of us, though.
You know what? The loyalty is like respect. You fucking earn it. It's not a gift that's given. Period. And that's your answer. You should be like, oh, you want me to be loyal? Ah, okay. Well, what happened in your last relationship? Oh, that's right. You got a quart of throat yogurt pumped into you. Guess what? Fuck off. Boom.
I just think for my life, every now and then, I'm like, you know what? Last year would be a good example. Like kind of, a girlfriend would have been nice to have. But then I got to tell you, what happens to me is I'm sitting there Sunday afternoon, I'm on the archery range, and I'm like, it's peaceful right now.
Yeah, and you don't want to know why? Because women are experts at calendar sabotage. And what I mean is this. You're working for a couple of weeks. You got a 3-day weekend coming up. There's no fucking plans. You're like, all right, I'm going to go buy some steaks and burgers. I'm going to cook them on the grill. I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to do some side projects. I mean, the man has already planned his 3 days of just fuck off time. Saturday rolls around. Honey, it's time to get up. We got to go help my friend move.
Oh, I
You're like,
that.
What the fuck?
I hated that.
Yeah. And it happened to me. Like, I remember, I got woken up like, hey, I want to go see my friend. She's having a little get together. And I roll up there and there's a moving truck. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm moving these people, aren't I?
Well, yeah, honey, don't you want to?
Yeah. And that's another thing that men need to get up to speed on is the whole blame and shame thing. We've been manipulated with blame and shame since the beginning of fucking time. World War I, if people didn't, enlist, they put a white feather on a guy, so he's a fucking coward. I mean, this is ridiculous. And it's starting to come to an end. Because, feminism is one and men and women are equal. And I'm trying to put it out there. I'm like, hey, look, women are fucking, picking fights with men and they're getting trounced. Let it fucking happen. It's not your concern. Boom.
So before we get into the next part of feminism, because it interests me greatly, I look at feminism as, what they've wanted all this stuff. And one of the cruelest things that's happened to women is they've gotten it, and now that they have it, it's not what they thought it was going to be, and it really does something to them. It seems like.
Yeah, well, suicide rates for women are starting to really skyrocket. 1 in 4 women are in head meds, and that stat's like 13 years old. I would say it's 1 in 3 now if I had to do an educated guess. Half of women, over half of women, 32 years and younger, have some type of psychological disorder. So, I mean, here's the great part here. We're starting to see it now. And I did a video on this called the spinster bubble. These women who are like, I don't need a man. I need a man like a fish needs a bicycle. And they start going up in age. And right around 38, some of them start getting that epiphany like, oh, wait a minute. phone's not ringing. You know, I don't have $1 million in the fucking bank. And then right around 45, they're like, holy fuck, I'm going to be working for the rest of my life. And that's where I came up with the saying 40 to 80 is a long fucking time. And listen, I am fully for the red pill MGTOW community to do their own thing, and we'll be fine. Men, for the most part, do okay on their own. Women, they start eating cat food, fucking keeping a bazillion cats, and they flip the fuck out. And quite literally, like when I turned 40, I literally saw probably a half a dozen women that I used to know back in the day who are fucked for the rest of their life, and all I do is laugh at them.
It's different for me, you know. And the fact is, I work with a lot of women. There's a lot of women I know that help veterans out and are stalwart supporters of us. I have 5 sisters, so I see the female side very closely. And I'm like, there has to be a way we can coexist together as male, female, get that balance back, because it's not all bad. But I think for me, man, I just don't want to live with one.
I don't blame you.
That's where I'm drawing the line.
No, I got you. Look, you're totally with it. All right. When I went to my marital home and cleaned out all of my shit, put it on a Ryder truck, I remember walking down the driveway going, this is never going to happen to me again. I will always have a place that I can fall back to that no one can fuck with or touch. Period. That's just the way it is.
Well, I mean, pain's a powerful teacher. Pain's a very powerful teacher. I think it speaks to that.
It's the ultimate teacher.
Yeah. You know, that's kind of why I am the way I am when it comes to that. I can get along with you at work. I have a female boss. I have no problem with her. I've had some great women, you know, help me out with certain things in my life, my attorney being one of them. It's weird that I can get along with them in these situations. I just don't want one living with me, and I'm told I'm weird, strange, damaged, or afraid. I don't think that's right.
Well, because the thing is they don't understand, because it doesn't happen to them.
So I want to then ask about Johnny Depp, because to me, if Johnny Depp's situation had happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, he'd have been screwed.
He would, yeah. Listen, he would have been just as screwed as he is now. Maybe not quite as bad, but and I maintained visibility during the whole trial. Now, did I watch every second of it? I don't have the time for that. But you know, I turn on the YouTube or BitChute or Brighteon or one of the other, you know, platforms that doesn't censor, and I would watch a lot of the stuff. And his ex-wife she's, in my opinion, an absolute lying, entitled cunt. I can't understand a normal thinker. Lied, you know, and why Depp tried to fight it in England is beyond me. He's an American citizen. He should have fought it here to begin with, save some money. And quite frankly, I want to see her like holding up a sign on the side of the road saying, you know, we'll suck dick for money. I mean, what she did to him was reprehensible. And I hope he doesn't go back to work for Disney. I literally hope he says, fuck you guys, I'm doing my own thing. So they're already in trouble. I mean, they're like they're in debt up to their eyeballs, and they have nothing that's going to pull them out of it. So, and I don't know. I would like to see Depp get some retribution on the media outlets that smeared him, and everyone that, you know, threw mud at him. I would like to see him get some retribution, because let's face it, if a woman makes an accusation, you are convicted in the eyes of the public, and that never goes away.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's been just multiple examples of this happening. It's not just an outlier anymore. And people don't understand that once that happens,
You're fucked.
forget getting a job, serving on a nonprofit board, being able to go through life easily for the rest of your life. It's a lifelong sentence and nothing seems to happen.
I know. And listen, and all right. So when you look at the crime stats, I've done some videos on this, and you look at false rape allegations. And the feminists will say it's not more than 5%. Well, the reason they come up with this stat is because they ignore the one right next to it that says unfounded. And that's a very, very big amount. I don't remember the exact numbers. And that basically is the system saying, we know you lied, but we're really not going to do anything about it. We're going to call it unfounded. But when you mix those two together, the false allegations go up to like between 30 and 45%. It is devastating. There's dudes in jail, in prison for false allegations. And I'm going to tell you right now, I go to prison for some false allegations. They better never let me out. And I'll tell the parole board that. I'm like, you don't let me out of here. Just keep me in here for my entire sentence or whatever. But,
Well, speaking of false allegations, that brings me to the whole thing of paternity fraud.
Oh my God.
Well, we got to talk about this
yeah.
because I have done shows about guys in the military getting absolutely hammered with paternity fraud. Hey,
yes.
you owe this woman, $1,000 a month, Lance Corporal, half your pay. 10 years later, he finds out that kid wasn't his, and he missed some payments, so they threw him in jail.
Yeah, I know.
What is going on with that, man?
Well, the way it works here in the United States, most states have like a 24-month time window. So all she has to do is fool you for 2 years and a day. You're on the hook for child support for a kid that's not yours for the rest of your fucking life. And quite frankly, that is absolute slavery. That isn't indentured servitude like child support. That's fucking slavery. And I have no idea why those men don't go out on their feet. I really don't. Because I myself, I don't think I could do that. I literally couldn't do it. I mean, I'm not going to stand for that. It's one thing if it is your child, got it. I paid child support. I think I paid my last child support check like in July of this year. But I wrote a check every month so they wouldn't fucking dip into my pay just to keep them off my fucking back. All right. But I don't think I would have been as nice if I'd have found out that, hey, the kid's not yours.
I had a Marine buddy find out one wasn't his. And it was really weird going back to moms and sisters. His side of the family was kind of mad at him that he didn't still take care of this child,
Cut them away.
Cut them away?
Cut them away. If your family isn't on your side, they're not your fucking family. Cut them away. They're nothing but toe jumpers. I'm sorry. They can pull the reserve if it's not your concern. And that's like, people don't understand. You can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. Now, if your family is on your back, that is great, but most of the time they're not. And listen, if you're a grown-ass man, you're making your own money, you're doing your own thing, and your family doesn't have your back, cut them away.
Just like that. Because I've tried telling guys, it's like, look, that person is not on your side.
That's right.
Cut them out.
Yeah. It's a war. Why would you keep a spy in your camp? You fucking get rid of them. All right. You just get them out of your life. You don't need that negative shit in your life. You don't have to worry about, oh, well, are they going to tell on me, or they don't have my back, they won't support me. Then why the fuck are you there? So you can eat a Christmas, fruit cake once a year with them and have some turkey. Fuck that. Yeah, great. I would love to have that, but
it's not reality.
In today's day and age, once my mother passes away, it's only me. All right. It is what it is. That's my answer. some people, might be like, well, that's wrong. And I'm like, okay, you don't have to agree with everything I have to say. I don't run a fucking cult here, but hey, let it go for a few years and then let me know how it worked out for you.
Is there any way to improve things? Because one part of me is like, okay, again, no problem working with them, no problem that women have been great for this, but is it going to improve? Can it improve? Or is this just the way it's going to be, man?
This is
until a major reset happens.
Well, all right. If like what I'm trying to do with the MGTOW movement is it's basically a grassroots movement. There's no leaders or anything. I don't lead them or I don't speak for them at all. I just talk about it. And right now the marriage rates are the lowest they have ever been since they started tracking that after the Civil War.
Really? I knew birth rates were down, but marriage rates are that far down?
They are fucking in the toilet. Birth rates are in the fucking toilet. And guess what? Sooner or later, we're going to run out of money because the debt's going to get so big, it's going to implode. There'll be no more big daddy government. And you're going to see that spinster bumble pop. A lot of women are going to be starving. So are a lot of kids that these women have had. And guess what? Sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm going to give you the same answer I'll give a dude. Since feminism is one, handle your shit and shut the fuck up. Boom.
It's going to take a major evolutionary event. Then it's going to take a major, like, apocalyptic event to make this happen.
Yes, it is.
I'm seeing it in, I studied China a whole lot, and I'm already seeing where the population is just, it's drying up. Like they're in major straits right now. And so are a lot of the European countries. We're just not having babies anymore.
Hey, all right. Are you familiar with, there was an experiment, they've done it several times and they always get the same result about you put the mice in the terrarium.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you give them all the food and water they need. And by the 5th, 6th, 7th generation, most of the male mice don't even participate in anything other than grooming and eating.
That's it. Yeah, I remember that.
And the whole thing fucking turned. And then there's cannibalism, there's murder. I mean, these mice go fucking nuts. The same thing is happening to us.
So we got to save boys then.
Yeah, and listen, Boy Scouts, the women decided, oh, we should have girls can go there too. And what happened with Boy Scouts? They went bankrupt because when they allowed that to happen, then you had all of this the confused poles and holes community come in, and a lot of pedophiles use that as camouflage. And now the Boy Scout was hit with all kinds of this horrible shit. They're gone. All right. Women are like quite literally, they've destroyed sports. They've destroyed the military. I mean, everything that they want to get involved in, they just fuck it up. Everything across the board. They don't improve shit.
I got a real laugh out of the Bill Burr special because I agree with him. I talked to women about this, about the WNBA and how I'm an a-hole for not going. I'm like, well, where are the thousands? I said, if as many women watched the WNBA as do the Bachelor, you guys would have no problem. They'd be rolling. These women would be, getting paid. But
they can't sell 2,000 tickets a game.
No,
it's more expensive to have the staff show up, turn on the fucking lights for a woman basketball game. It's literally, they earn nothing. And
so I was asked one time about this, and I'm like, for some reason, I said, look, I watch my sisters. For some reason, you get more than 3 or 4 of them in a room, and they have a hard time supporting each other. I said, completely anecdotal. I don't know the psychology behind it, but it seems like they have a hard time working together, whereas guys don't seem to have that hard of a time. Once they establish a leader, we all just get it done.
Yeah.
It's weird that way. And I think it's a difference that has to be discussed, but I'm like, we're different people. That's the other thing. I mean, I don't think we understand just how different we are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in regard, and this is back to the WNBA thing. All right. So let's just go through the process of what it takes to go to an actual stadium to watch a game. All right. So I have to buy $30 to $70 tickets. That's to sit in the nosebleed seats. Drive there, pay for parking. Go inside the stadium where I'm going to be completely ass raped for any food or beer. All right. Why would I actually fight traffic, pay all that money, get ass raped for food to sit down and watch players who are subpar? If I'm not like if I had a daughter playing there, of course I would do that. But I don't want to see it. I'm not going to pay that kind of money and go through that kind of frustration to watch a woman team that like a high school male team could crush in 3 seconds. It's not worth it to me. And most people think that way too.
Well, most women do. I mean,
yeah. Well, women are not. Most women are not sports connoisseurs. There are some out there, but most you go to a tailgating, it's usually all men. It's just the way it works.
So you've had this thing going. You wrote the book. I had the book like, hot page on my Kindle, all highlighted with stuff that helped me. You started the redonkulous.com channel, and Redonkulous channel, lots of comedy there, lots of hate and discontent. Fine. You've adapted real well to YouTube, shifting sands on you. What is next for you as things get more and more locked down?
I'm on the front line. Okay, so I retired from the military, right? In 2018, they medically retired me because I got too many injuries, got wounded too many times. That's the way things go. Got it. And I thought, I'm going to go, I'm going to hang out for a few years till my daughters turn 18 and they get out of their lives. And I'm going to just fucking, go deep sea fishing, scuba diving, maybe treasure hunt, look for UFOs and ghosts, whatever. I did not think that, I would have to basically dig a foxhole and be on the front lines in the new information war, culture war we have going on. There are not many people out there who are telling the truth. And I worked in special operations for 22 years. I know all about PSYOPs. I was in the room while they cooked up a lot of the PSYOP plans. I know exactly how it works. We're getting hit with that here in the United States. And we have a huge amount of people in the middle who are oblivious, useful, idiots, sheeple, you call them whatever you want, who fall for this hook, line, and sinker. And we're seeing the effects of that now with gas prices and energy prices. There's going to be a food shortage coming because I talked to a lot of guys in regards who are in that system. It is going to be a huge clusterfuck. It's going to be bad. And it might actually go dynamic, which I hope it doesn't. So, I mean, and another thing that I do, I'm using comedy, logic, and reason to stand in front of death and evil itself and beat them back with it. So I'm predicting that I will wind up in the crosshairs in the near future because of that, because they want to silence me. They want to get rid of me because I scare the shit out of them.
Well, that's what got me thinking. How is it that Andrew Tate gets completely banned and you've been able to avoid that so far? Because he says things very differently than you do. His message is very different, but at the core, there's a lot of similarities, and they completely removed him.
The same thing's going to happen to me. They're going to do the same thing to me. Now, I don't personally know Mr. Tate. I've heard of him. I too am a former professional fighter, as he is. He held 4 world titles. I just fought for a world title and was defeated in the 10th round with the TKO. But I'm familiar with the game. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna try to shut us down, and quite frankly, that's why, because in my mindset, it never turns off. I mean, they literally The military tore apart thousands of men to find me. And then it sunk into me countless tax dollars and resources in my making. You can't undo that. It never turns off. Everything in my mind is war. So, and quite frankly, I am, this is a unconventional guerrilla war that I'm waging. But I am on virtually every video platform that allows live streaming. To include the super alt tech ones like DLive and Library Odyssey, to YouTube. So, I mean, do I plan on going away? No. Maybe one day I'll, get to the point where I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to retire. We'll see. Chances are that's probably not going to happen now, but it is what it is.
So as we wind this down, one thing that I did want to come back to, because it's easy to look at if you're one of those people in the middle, one of these people watching this right now, maybe horrified, oh my God. But the fact of the matter is, you can attest to almost 500 lives that have either reached out to you and confirmed that they're alive because of what you've done. What's it like when you get an email, message, or phone call from somebody saying, hey man, I'm still breathing, I'm still sucking air because I took the time to listen to what you had to say? What's going through your mind when you see that pop?
Good. Yeah, listen, on D-Day, those guys who came off the boats, they knew they were fucked. All right. But their job was simply this: get through the obstacles, clear the obstacles, destroy the enemy, stop the crossfire, and maybe I'll die, but those guys behind me won't. That's how I roll, man. That's just how it is. Do I get all like kumbaya over it? Maybe for a little while. But in the heat of battle, you don't have time to crack champagne and have a party and celebrate. That doesn't happen until long towards the end, man.
So it's the next one. Well, how can I help the next one? How can I keep going?
It's just the next mission. That's all that's left for me, man. I got no home. I got nothing. All I have is the next mission. That's it.
Gotcha. Last question, for a guy, military or civilian or veteran, just a I don't know, synopsis of what we can do now to improve ourselves and keep ourselves right.
All right. Number one, work on yourself. And what I mean by that, dump some weight, get in shape, because that does wonders for your confidence, and it helps clear your mind and get your hormones, stabilized. Not like men have a problem with that, like more like women, but I'm just saying some dudes, they get hit with the fucking the divorce thing. It's the equivalent of a physical trauma. Their testosterone plummets, and it causes all kinds of, depression and sadness problems. That's number one. Number two, make a fucking plan to succeed. Number three, execute that plan, even if it's one baby step a day or one baby step a month in your direction. Sooner or later, you're gonna fucking get there. And once you're there, never allow anyone ever to knock you back off the hill that you won. Period. Put barbed wire up, put up sandbag walls in the trench. Fuck them. This is now your fucking place. And listen, and that's called, success. And once you get there, all those people, those naysayers, or all the people who fucking, broke you, they're going to hate your guts because you're living well. It's the ultimate revenge.
All I can say is I don't think I was ever suicidal going through my situation.
Good.
Maybe I was, but I don't think I was. In fact, I know I wasn't. But I certainly, in my own way, did those things. And success I'm enjoying now is because I took those small actions daily. So I'm not number 470, but I like to think I'm pretty close.
I hear you. And listen, I know there's a lot of guys out there who that I helped. Maybe I didn't save their life, but I kept them from going crazy. Or they watch some of my videos and they're like, oh wow, I can do this. Yeah. I can do that. Wow, I didn't know that. And it literally opens up another path for either success or another attack path to fight the enemy. Because quite frankly, anything that is killing you is the fucking enemy. And it should be treated with all of the rights and benefits that title conveys. This nice guy shit's got to go.
Can't be a nice guy.
No, the minute you get the divorce papers, she's no longer your love of your life. She's the fucking enemy, and you need to understand that.
A lot of guys don't, and I get a lot of like, don't you want to be friendly with your ex? No, I don't. No. What happened? We're way past that. That'll never happen again.
That's right. No. Listen, if you are divorced and you still talk to your ex-wife, you're out of your fucking mind. Everything should be text, email, hard copy. If it can't be subpoenaed in the court, doesn't fucking happen. That cuts down on a lot of this PPO, personal protection order horse shit, because I came close to that. And I remember going in there and talking to the judge. And I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Everything is print or email, or it doesn't fucking happen. And that's just the way it's been since the whole divorce started. So I don't know what she's fucking saying. She's out of her fucking mind. And fortunately, in that instance, I got lucky, and the judge is like, denied. We're not doing that bullshit. So, but it does happen.
I like the email text thing and straight to the point. There's no reason to bring up old stuff. Tell me what the deal is. Here's a deal, and I'm done.
That's right. And I'd be like, I would get these emails from my ex fucking slewer, and I'd be like, I only talk about things pertaining to my children. Everything else, not in my purview. I don't care.
Gotta say that. Yeah, I just don't. It was really empowering when I just like, okay, you're going to talk about me. Fine. I don't care. You're going to hate me. I don't care. I just don't care. Right. And that's something that you talked about a long time ago. So,
well, if you worry constantly about what other people think about you, you're their fucking slave.
Yes.
Fuck them. Most of the people are naysayers. You know how many times I've heard, oh, you can't do it. You're not fast enough. You're not strong enough. You don't have enough endurance. You're too small. You're not smart enough. I've heard that thousands of fucking times in my life. Thousands. And I'm like, and guess what? A little bit down the road, I was stepping over their crushed and broken bodies, moving on to my fucking objective. Fuck them.
Is it worth trying to save somebody who hears that naysayer and just says, okay, you're right, I'm just going to quit? Can you drag him out of his hole, or is it just yeah?
Oh, well, yeah. Quitting is basically the seeds of regret. Okay, and like, listen, it's one thing to fail. All right, listen, I failed lots of stuff in my life. I gave it 110%, didn't work out. I walked away with no regrets because I did the best I could. But if you say, fuck it, fuck that, I'm quitting. Guess what? You just poked a hole in the dirt in your mind, planted a seed. It's going to grow into a huge fucking nut roll 10, 20 years later. Because that which it weighs an ounce today weighs a ton tomorrow. So my advice to everyone out there, if you're going to quit, the only thing you should quit is quitting.
But that's right. I just, there's been other things in my life where I didn't quit, and I wasn't good at it, wasn't the fastest, wasn't the strongest, but I didn't quit. And 2 years later, I'm like, hey,
yeah,
I'm here. And it's nice to be here. And it's also a lot of guys tell me, well, I didn't quit, and now my family and friends don't like me. And I'm like, well, Yeah,
So what?
because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Listen, you are okay. In reality, this is the way it works. Life is not a popularity contest. Okay, this isn't it's not the high school cafeteria. All right. Life wants nothing more than to chew you up and spit you into your dirt nap. And it is your job to resist that as long as you fucking can. Because nothing's free. Never has been, never will be. This isn't Star Trek. Food doesn't appear in a fucking box. Listen, it is insane. I just cannot believe how out of touch everyone has become, in the past 20 years. It is comedy fucking gold. Comedy gold. I can write jokes and stories about this for the rest of my life. It's insane.
Well, just on the military side of things, just on the whole, it's getting worse, not better. That's the part that scares me.
Yeah, it is getting worse. It is. And guess what? When people can't heat their houses, get clean water, it's going to go dynamic. And I'm not threatening anyone. I'm just saying, historically speaking, that is what always happens. And if you want to look into the future, you look into the past and say, well, during this problem here, what happened? That's what's going to happen in the future.
Well, we can go back to COVID-19 and toilet paper. And I don't know about where you live, but where I live, people were throwing hands in Target and Walmart because they couldn't get Charmin tri-ply.
Yeah, I know.
Over toilet paper. And I'm like, we're not even to water or rice yet.
Nope. Yeah, it's gonna. And listen, when I saw the news media about the bullshit in China that was taking place, I looked at it and I'm like, okay, this is gonna get bad. Did some research, found the ivermectin and the hydroxychloroquine angle before it was even in the news. Got on the phone, had it delivered to my house via the Green Beret Express. I had oxygen tanks, oxygen concentration. Literally, by the time it started getting stupid here, I literally had my own aid station just in case, anyone in my family or friends got to fucking coof and was getting sick. And listen, I had to sneak the ivermectin into people in the hospital so they didn't fucking die. I mean, it's insane. My thing is this: if you're a military-minded individual, just try to look at the intel over the horizon and make predictions so it doesn't happen to you. Mm-hmm. Because by the time the whole toilet paper thing was, going crazy, I already had like a year and a half supply. So
nice.
I actually had to give some to my mother because I told her about it. She didn't believe me. I'm like, oh, okay. Like all these other predictions I made, I was wrong. And now I'm making another one. You're saying I'm wrong again. Good luck with that.
All right, son, you're right again. Damn.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Well, I am because I get it, with Terrence Popp, Army veteran, retired, Green Beret Special Forces, right?
I was an infantry soldier, airborne paratrooper, airborne ranger, and a Green Beret.
Awesome.
Yeah, across 3 wars.
That's even hard to, I don't know. I talked to a couple of World War II vets, and they served for 3-4 years, and then they were out. They came home and got their job. I can't imagine going from WW2 to Vietnam. It'd be hard to frame my mind. But I want to thank you for coming on and talking with me. Again, this has been like 10 years in the making, and the young guys, I didn't listen. I had staff and COs in the Marine Corps kind of give me the same lessons you were given on the YouTube videos. And I just thought, they don't know what they're talking about. Love conquers all. And love didn't conquer all. So I'm hoping that some guy out there takes this and runs with this. So I want to appreciate you coming on.
If we can save just one,
yeah,
it's all worth it.
Awesome. Well, as we say here in Oscar Mike Radio, we are Mission in Flight. I'm with Terrence Popp. I'll have the links to all his stuff in the Oscar Mike Radio show post. Thank you, Pop, for coming on. We'll talk again soon.
Anytime you want, bro.
I want to thank you for joining me and watching Oscar Mike Radio. Now go to OscarMikeRadio.com and click shop to check out all the cool merchandise from Authentically American. All proceeds go to veteran service organizations. We are Mission in Flight.